talking about house plants, if we're talking about raised planters, pots, or garden beds, whatever, a level of focus always goes to soil. And it's not because like we love soil, we're not paid by the soil. It's the fact that it is that important. People have heard me say, if I had to choose between a healthy soil or a fertilizer, soil. I don't choose, I do both, but it's always soil. So we have done so much on amending soil and additives and what we put into soil. I'm not going to spend a whole heck of a lot of time on that. I am going to say, amend your soil. Get out there, add the compost, the manure, the peat moss, the coir. Those are like your big hitters. Worm castings, compost, and there's all different types. We carry a few different brands of all of these products. But go ahead and get them in. Again, adding that organic matter, it's going to boost microbial activity, it's going to help soil structure, it's going to massively help in moisture retention. And that is essential. And I'm not going to spend much talking about those big hitters, because they get a lot of shout outs. A lot of people know them. A lot of people, if you go downstairs and you look at the average cart, you'll see a lot of the carts have got flowers, perennials, trees, whatever, plants on it. And then on the bottom, they have some type of soil and amendment. Nearly every single cart is kind of the same. But when you come to a garden center, when you go visit your independent garden center, you see different stuff on the shelves. Things that you're not gonna see them at big box stores that are just kind of focused on the big hitter items. And a lot of times people look and they go, Epsom salts. Most people assume these, and I'm going to talk about everything in a bit more detail. Most people assume this with a bath when you're hurting after playing softball or something.
I mean, I questioned it. Remember?
Yeah. And people are like, and this, as you can see, it's got a butterfly on it. So this isn't like, we didn't just take ones from Bed Bath & Beyond and put them on our shelf. These are actually for the garden. But people look and they go, I've never heard of that. I've never seen it. What am I doing? So I'm going to get into all of this, but all of this does go hand in hand with another place that I want to start. And that is our pH. So a lot of times people come up and they've heard about pH in soil. They don't really know what it means. And, grade 10 chemistry maybe? Grade 9, grade 8 chemistry? When did we do pH in chemistry?
I don't remember last week. So.
Okay, touche. High school. High school, junior high.
Yeah.
We probably touched on it in elementary school. I always used to like playing with the litmus paper.
Yeah.
Where you'd stick it on and it would change the color. It was like purple and red and blues.
I remember now.
Yeah, and you'd test it. And I think that might have been elementary school. Then you go a bit further because you'd have your litmus paper and you'd pour like vinegar on it.
Yeah. Okay, that was actually really fun.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I think all of us have an idea of what pH is. But understanding the role it plays in the garden, I think a lot of people kind of go, I guess it's good. Most of the time it will be, okay? Most of the time your pH is going to kind of balance itself out. There are absolutely factors that can affect it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to dispel the biggest myth. Right now, I'm not even doing a cliffhanger. Your spruce trees are not messing up your pH. Don't worry about it. There you go. That's the biggest myth in Calgary. Oh, my spruces are acidifying the soil. Numerous tests from numerous people, independent, arborists, the city, everybody has tested this. It's really not a problem. When we're talking about pH, so I've got all of my notes here because I don't want to miss anything, but we're not doing a deep dive here. It's not Bill. I wish I had Bill Nye the Science Guy. I would totally pass this off to Bill.
Yeah.
Do you just call him Bill, or does it have to be Bill Nye the Science Guy? Do you think he goes by his full name all the time?
You think that's his full name?
Yeah. Should legally be. Good. Wouldn't it feel weird calling him Bill? Like, hey, Bill.
I don't know.
What? Could you imagine seeing Mr. Rogers and being like, "What's up, Fred?"
Well, or Science Guy.
Oh, yeah, like Mr. Nye.
Yeah, exactly.
So pH, in a nutshell, when we're talking about an acidic soil, so a plant that likes acidity are blueberries. I think most people recognize that one. They like an acidic soil, so they want their pH to be on the low side, 4.5, which is pretty extreme, to 5.5. Then we flip it and we look at lavender, okay? Lavender does not want that. Lavender actually, and I just found this out, and I knew that lavender liked a more alkaline soil. I had no idea that lavender can actually live in an 8 alkaline soil. Okay, that's pretty high. Like, most of them do not want that.
What is that out of?
So 7 is neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 is like you're going to burn your hand off acidity.
Yeah.
14 is you're going to burn your hand off alkaline.
So 7 out of 14?
Yeah, so 7 out of 14 is 0.
Oh, right.
Right. 7 out of 7. High school again. 7 out of the 14 is neutral.
Got it.
Okay, here's something fun. We found this out when I was a kid. Okay, totally digressing, but this may happen to you in the garden. Wasp stings.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, we were messing around on a farm in England, and we disturbed a wasp's nest, and we got stung.
Oh my.
Heckin' bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had like over 30 stings.
Yeah.
In my ears, on my face, everywhere. It was brutal. And we were in the middle of nowhere in England, and the country doctor, we spoke to him, and the advice was take white vinegar,
Okay.
soak paper towel or rags in white vinegar, put ice in it, and put it on the sting. The vinegar is an acid, the wasp sting is a base. They counter each other out. They're approximately at opposite ends on the pH scale, approximately, and then the ice helps with the pain and the swelling.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. So if you ever get stung by a wasp, a little bit of white vinegar, some ice, hey presto, there you go. But we look and we go, well, where should my soil be? So the vast majority of plants will grow in 6 to 7 range. So slightly acidic. Okay, it's better to have a slightly acidic soil than more of a base. If I had to pick, between having my soil 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, I would never push it to 8. It's always 6 to 7. Same applies for your indoor plants and everything else. Now, most soils are going to be quite balanced when you're buying a potting soil. You really don't have to worry about it. That's why a lot of them are peat-based. Peat moss is a natural acidifier, so it's keeping us in that realm.
Oh my gosh, can I share something?
Of course.
Peter Davis over on our Facebook said, "Don't call it dirt." Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Peter. So if we throw off that balance drastically, we can actually hurt our plants. So there's a number of things that can happen. If our acidity level becomes too high, so we get into that 4.5, that blueberries like 3.5, where we're getting into toxic soil, certain elements can actually become so soluble, the plant brings them up at such an alarming rate, they become toxic to the plant. Conversely, if our soil becomes too alkaline, it cannot absorb anything. It doesn't matter how much of a certain mineral or nutrient you have in there, the plant can't uptake it because it's actually being inhibited. So, that's great, okay? Wow, wonderful knowledge. What do we do about that? Okay, because telling you that is one thing, but how do we fix it? Because if our acidity level is off, Okay, we may not notice, but we're like, my plants aren't doing good. I don't get it. They're good plants. I've turned my soil. I've done all of the stuff that I'm meant to be doing, but what's happening? And what can end up happening is when our acidity is off, one way or the other, when our pH balance is off, microbial activity stops. So now we're not cycling nutrients. Now we're not breaking stuff down. And even though our soil looks good, it's actually quite inert. The plants cannot get what they need. So the first thing you're going to want to do is test your soil. There's a number of different ways. We have old school pH testers. We have digital pH testers. Okay, and this one does a few things. We're going to come back to this one. This one just does pH. You simply take some soil, mix it with water. So I'll come around to the camera. Only one camera, so it's easier to tell me. Am I good, Brandy?
Yeah.
You put your soil to there. You fill your water to there. Okay, you mix it all up, and then you read your spectrum. And that's it. So you look and you look at the color that this water turns in here. You read off that spectrum. Now you know where your pH is. Is this exact? No, it's not exact. But it will put you in the ballpark you need to be in. If you want to be exact, invest in something like this. This is going to read exactly where you want. Also, something to remember is that amount of soil that you put in there is rather a small amount of soil. So you may, one of these, okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is one and done. I test the soil, I do this, and I'm like, okay, I've kind of got it. I'm done, but I've still got 3 other beds to check. This, I can check my bed all over the place. I can do the ones in the front, the ones in the back. I can do my house plants. So ones like this, bit more bang for the buck. These are absolutely great. And then we have that one as well, the pH test, but also an MPK tester as well, to see if our soil is naturally low or too high in any of those. So we go around and we check our acidity, because if we are looking at, here's one, a lot of times people will come up to us and they'll say, why are my plants suffering from a disease? So, and I need to read this one because I can't remember the name of it. Fusarium fungus causes wilt and root rot, and it thrives in a highly acidic soil. So obviously plants like blueberries are much more resistant to that fungus. They can handle the acidity, but some of our more tender plants cannot. The soil is too acidic, we're getting wilt. Conversely, if we have a soil that's 7.5 and we're doing our root vegetables and our soil alkali is too high, scab likes to live in that. So knowing where we're at, if I'm doing blueberries here and potatoes here, I need a different pH if I want them to thrive. Again, that being said, my potatoes, carrots, my blueberries, and my rhododendrons will all do pretty good in that 6 to 7 range. So if you really want to play around like I like to do, and you really want to push things and test things, most of the soil you test is going to hit that 6 to 7 range. I've helped countless people do pH tests. Vast majority hit that range. Very rarely do I find one that I'm like, oh, we need to address this to get you to normal before we can even have a discussion. But if you're like, well, I love my blueberries, and blueberries are delicious.
Yeah.
We had blueberry scone high tea.
We did.
Yeah.
Episode coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Spoiler. But if you wanted to play around and you wanted to do your blueberries, and you were like, I want them to thrive. Last year I did pretty good. I think I can get more of them. I think I can boost the harvest. That means I need to acidify. This is what you're looking at. Okay? Aluminum sulfate. This will acidify your soil. Like any good product, anything that we trust, I'm not going to go into this part. All the directions are on the back. Okay? So you look, you find out what you're growing, you find out your ratios. So it's got potted plants, it's got gardens. You read the part you need, you do it. If you have any trouble, you speak to us personally, you go to their website. There's all kind of options. But that's what you would add. Now this is going to change your acidity. Maybe you want to add this, mix it in, water it, then check your pH. Make sure you haven't used too much, or you did all of that work and you haven't altered the pH at all. You're like, oh, I need to add more. So it's always a good idea. Again, have your handy tool ready to go. Even our basic one, I don't have it. It's in my office. I was actually using it for something. Even our basic moisture meter that we have has a pH scale on it. So you can even test your pH on that one. Like I said, worth our weight in gold, being able to test your moisture and your pH. It's fun. It's just extra knowledge to help us grow. Now, on the other side, we have an area that's too acidic. We go with dolomitic lime. Okay, and that's going to drop acidity. So whatever you're trying to grow, whatever you're looking at, different, but you can mix these in the same bed. Now a bed, maybe the size of my table, might be a little small to start trying to change the pH. But if you've got a nice big bed, you know, a 10 by 10 lot, and a corner of it you want for your blueberries, and then the other corner you want for your root vegetables or whatnot, start playing around. Okay? Use these products. That's their sole purpose, is to really change the pH of your soil. And like I said, once you start getting into it, you will realize, and I'm not bringing this up to be an alarmist, to catastrophize. Like I said, I'm trying to think, I think maybe 3 or 4 times have I ever looked at somebody's pH and been like, oh, we need to address that immediately. Like, one of them was 8.5, and we're like, all right, let's fix that. We did, we added, they did some more tests, they got it to where we wanted, we went backwards and forwards, they were up and running. So it can change for any number of reasons. We've added the wrong nutrients, there's been work done, things have gotten mixed into the soil, soil compaction, it's lost nutrients, it's leached nutrients, whatever the case might be. One of the reasons will not be your spruce tree. Like how I keep coming back to that?
Yeah.
That is not going to affect your acidity. Spruce trees, we've talked about this before, I'll talk about it again. Number one way that they're going to mess things up is they're going to steal all of the water, all of the nutrients, and a lot of times they cast shade. In the case of lawns, they do drop needles. That then stops natural water and whatnot getting to the roots of the grass. So they're just a problem. It's not the acidity.
Oh.
Yep.
One more thing from Pete from our over on Instagram says pH test strips can be used also.
Yeah, we used to carry them actually. So we did have those. I think they came in a pack of 20. The company we carried them from stopped making them, and they were about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 inches long. You held one end and you pushed the other end into the soil and you get a reading. They were actually really popular with cannabis growers.
Okay.
They were really popular with cannabis growers.
Yeah.
Cannabis, of course, has a pH optimum level. A lot of the cannabis nutrients would say for high pH and pH balanced and whatnot. And they were very, very popular. I would still carry them if we could, but my 3 big distributors do not carry them. If I see them, we've got other pH testers, so I'm not like, well, it's a 911, but if they were there, we would still have them for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I think they were a pack of 10 or 20, and yeah, we used to move, we'd be ordering them every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, they're one and done. You test it, you get your color, you go compare it, you toss it, you get another one. Straight in the compost with it, and away you go.
Nice.
So they were fun. So, we got our pH, we got that figured out. We know what we're doing. Now we're going to talk about something that a lot of people get, but I don't think they realize how important it is, and that's soil temperature. And a lot of times we go, well, that's full sun, so it's very hot, and that's in the shade, so it is cold. And that's kind of where our brains go. And in a nutshell, that is right. If something is out in the sun, it's going to get warmer. If something is in the shade, it is going to stay cooler. And most of the plants that we see are going, so if we have a shade-loving plant, it probably will do better in a cooler soil. However, when we are looking at our soil, it might be too hot. So the best growing range, active growing range, for plants in Calgary, for our Zone 3 plants and our annuals and whatnot, is, and it's a pretty big range when you think about it, is between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius. So 15 to me is a great temperature to be outside working in the garden, not a great temperature to be at the beach. 25, great temperature to be at the beach, not a great temperature to be trapped in my backyard where there's no wind and it's full sun. So I also react to the temperature depending on what I'm doing. And when we look at soil temperature, if we're talking soil temperature, my brain immediately goes to seed starting. Okay, I know that if my soil is cool and wet, my seeds aren't going to germinate that well. I'm running into the risk of damping off. I'm running into the risk of fungus, standing moisture, stagnation. So when I'm thinking about my soil range, I immediately go, okay, I need heat mats. I need to limit the amount of water because I don't have a heat mat. There's no wind flow. These are sitting in an ambient temperature of 17, 18 degrees. So I have to be really, really careful of the water that I'm putting in there. Other things that can be affected when we look at it is root growth. We've talked about this before. So I love all different color pots. This year I potted up a teal blue one just for fun. We've got yellow ones, we have gold ones, all different kinds. But when I'm doing my veggies, I tend to use black pots. The reason for that is it pulls in heat. Black is a heat sink, gets that soil toasty hot, which boosts root growth. Basically, the warmer something is, the more cell activity. Cell division is basically a chemical reaction, and it's happening. So the warmer the chemical reactions need heat. So if my soil is warmer, my roots get bigger, my plant gets bigger. So we're looking at doing that. But if I have a plant, say for example broccoli, which likes soil to be on the cooler side, and I put broccoli in a black pot in full sun, it's probably not going to be too happy. I'm probably looking at limited growth. So years ago I did cauliflower in a black pot in full sun. Did amazing.
What?
Came up. I haven't finished yet. Yeah, you jumped the gun. You're like, what? What? Brandy got very excited there. Did amazing. Started off great. Started growing. Beautiful little head coming out of the middle. And then it just stopped.
Oh.
And I was like, why? What's going on here? Could not figure it out. Looked inside. It had gotten too hot. The roots weren't able to keep up. All of my other pots were there. I had my tomato, my cucumbers, all of my other pots. It was lined up with that. Lettuce, I had lettuce going in the full sun, even though lettuce does like a cooler area. Some of it does do well in that early full sun. The pot was riddled with root maggots.
No!
Yep. Yeah, and it had just stunted it. Couldn't keep up. That water was sitting there. It was turning gross because it does not want the soil that hot. So knowing what we're looking at, because we have to know that certain plants, they're going to grow under better temperatures. Moisture uptake, that's exactly what we're looking at. We think, well, if it's hot, the plant will take up more moisture. Not if the plant is suffering. If somebody is massively dehydrated, they can't chug water, and we don't want them to chug water, they sip it. If we have a plant that wants a cooler soil, it wants more shade in the full sun, it may have difficulty uptaking nutrients and water because it's so heavily stressed. That's when we get pathogens, disease, but bad stuff happens to us when we're stressed, right? The number one way I see people get sick is when they're run down. Very rarely when people are taking care of themselves, they're eating healthy, they're resting properly, do they get, sure, you hang out with like little kids that are just covered in germs and cough directly in your face, you're probably going to get sick no matter how you do. But a lot of times, spring here, we quite often see people walking around with sniffles and whatnot because we're not really taking care of ourselves. We're running around. We're doing, 10 different things all at once. And we go, oh my God, I'm run down. We need to look after ourselves. Hence why I'm drinking water and being healthy. Healthy choices.
Healthy.
And I had a very healthy breakfast smoothie this morning. So, moisture uptake is important. The other thing is microbial activity. Now, microbial activity, if the soil is too cool, microbial activity will stop, and every plant wants that microbial activity. So microbial activity, I say it a lot, and I just kind of realized I haven't actually really kind of said what it is. Microbial activity is any of the microbes in the soil. So we're looking at nematodes, fungus, bacteria, all of those living things, and it's their activity. So what are they doing? And they're eating bad stuff. They're creating new soil. They're creating aggregates. They're decaying all of that matter and turning it into soil. So all of this is happening at an alarming rate. I don't know if you've ever seen time-lapse videos where they take a leaf and they put it on the soil and then they do the time-lapse and you see the leaf breaking down and decaying and turning into soil. Super cool. If you haven't, I guarantee you'll find them. YouTube, TikTok, guarantee you'll find them. They're a lot of fun to watch because we see a leaf on the ground, we don't really think about it, and then later we don't see it, but it doesn't even occur to us. Could have blown away, a million things. A lot of times it's breaking down. There is stuff happening. Soil is active. It's moving. And when that microbial activity is happening, it's also helping stop disease because it's not just letting the soil sit inert, and it's helping a nutrient cycle. So it's breaking stuff down, turning it into nutrients, feeding it to the plants, breaking more stuff down. All of this is happening, and it's happening at the right temperature. So soil that is too cold, too wet, it's not doing it. But soil that is cooking hot, blistering hot, like 30, 32 degrees, is also not doing good. So, great, we've talked about that. And the hot soil zones. We're looking at our tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, basil, rosemary, zinnias, all of the big hitters, all of the plants, echinacea, everything you see that says like full sun normally wants a hot soil. Things that want the shade are broccoli, cauliflower, leafy greens, dill. They want something a little, what was it? Did I write it down? I did not. I'm an idiot. But all of those, they want a cooler soil. Then you've got the real tricky ones like impatiens. They don't want full sun, but they don't want to be cold either. So impatiens, what I find is they do really good in a shady area, but in an area that's also a heat trap. So it doesn't get full sun, but it's kind of a sunk area in my backyard. Again, our deck, when we used to have shade on it, the impatiens there would explode because there was no wind, there was nothing to cool. They didn't get hit with the rain because of the overhang of the house. So we would water them. They were in a black pot. Oh my God, they would get this big. We could see them out of the window. They were amazing. That being said, you put them somewhere where the soil's a little bit cooler, they're going to do fine. Put them in full sun, in a blistering hot baking soil, they're not really going to love their life too much. So we have to consider that. And again, this has a soil temperature, or you can go very basic, okay? And you can go analog. So there's all different choices.
What is that? So that says 4-in-1. So what does it all do?
Oh, so this one, it's actually really cool, okay? So this one, if I come around here, it's a 4-in-1. The other one I have is a 2-in-1 digital meter. And here's what it does. It measures sunlight.
No, it's backwards in the camera.
Oh, it's
it won't help. It won't help.
Okay, I'll talk us
just
through
explain
it. So it's going to measure the amount of sunlight we get. It's going to measure our temperature. It's going to measure our pH, and it's going to measure our moisture.
All of that in
All
one
of that.
meter?
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's killer. It's such a good tool. But again, you may have a moisture meter. You may have a pH tester. You may like using the pH strips that Pete likes. Any of that is fine. So you can get independent things like a sun calculator. This is going to give you a good idea. If you know an area is full sun, probably safe to assume it's a hotter soil. Again, not written in stone. These are great, but if you're doing all of this and you're still not getting results and you've checked pH and whatnot, get a thermometer, get one of these, test it out. And these gadgets, okay, so I do not upsell. I actually genuinely don't know the prices of any of these. I just yoinked them off the shelf. How often we use it? You're going to use this to measure the pH. You're going to put it in. You go, oh, my pH is perfect. You take it out. You clean it. You put it away. You're probably not going to use it again this year. This is going to last you. You keep it safe. You don't drop it, crack it, leave it outside or anything like that. You keep it good. It's going to last you years. Years and years and years and years. So these are long-term investments that they give you the edge on the gardening. That's all. We're just looking, maybe you come in and every year you buy new gloves or a new trowel or new something else. Your trowel is fine, your pruners are fine, they just need to be sharpened, whatnot. Don't buy new pruners, buy one of these. Don't buy a trowel, buy one of these. Or treat yourself, get one of these. Put it on your birthday list, your Mother's Day list, your Father's Day list. All kinds of things we can do. But all of these gadgets are so much fun and they're game changers. And I have not one of these ones. I don't have this one, but I've shown my other one that I have. And I think this year alone I've lent it to 3 people. Okay? People have been like, oh, can I borrow that? I need to test something. Yep, absolutely. Just give it back. So people like using the gadgets. I know that. And everybody is like, everybody who I lend it to always say, I got to get myself one of those. Yeah, I don't mind lending it, but you really should because they're fun.
Do we have mushroom compost?
No, we don't.
Oh, we don't. Okay.
We don't have mushroom compost. We used to carry it, and it never took off. It took way too long to get through it. We didn't have the pallet space for it. Bags started ripping. Yeah. So it was really unfortunate because we did. Oh my gosh, maybe we should try it again, but that was 6 years ago, I want to say we had it.
Yeah, I didn't realize compost could change pH as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I was just reading the average pH of mushroom compost is around the 6 to 7. So
yep.
It's kind of like a nice area.
And that's why I said at the beginning, and that's a great point, is always put in your big hitters.
Yeah.
Always put in your big hitters and check that. And a lot of them are going to help balance your, and I'm going to get to this, I'm almost on soil temperature, but this one is a additive a lot of people are sleeping on.
What is it? Because it's backwards.
Oh, right.
No.
It's charged carbon.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay, cool.
So, couple of actionable items. What can we do to protect our soil? Our soil is too cold. We put some black fabric down. What does black do? Pulls in the heat, warms that soil up. Our soil is too hot. We put down mulch, layer of mulch. Now, all of the sun is hitting that mulch. It's not getting through because wood is a natural insulator. It's going to keep our soil cooler and more moist. So we can take actionable items to help change the soil temperature. Also checking on that is the amount of water uptake. Soil is hot. It's probably losing water quicker. So we want to look at that. A very, very hot area of soil may need more of those amendments, may need more compost and whatnot because it's just drying out. It's just drying out and our soil is, turning dusty right away. A wetter area, we might be looking at having to add more coir or peat moss to try and help with that aeration and fluff it up because it's trapping a lot of moisture. So pH and temperature are important. Now we're going to talk about some of my favorite amendments that a lot of people don't use. They're intimidated, they don't know them, they don't understand them, they don't see them, they haven't used them before. Right out of the gate, volcanic minerals. How am I doing for time? Am I just rabbiting? Oh, great. Volcanic minerals, the way I always explain this, when people go, well, what do they do? And I go, well, think of a volcanic island like Hawaii. What do you think of? You immediately think of the flowers and the rich growth. This is not going to turn your backyard into Hawaii, but it's going to help. The rich minerals, macro, micronutrients that are in here. It helps with soil structure because it is rock, it is grit. I mean, this is a very fine powder, but on a microscopic level, it is still rock. It's got silicones in it, which is going to help boost the plant. It helps with microbial activity. So although this isn't a fertilizer per se, it's an amazing amendment. This goes in my garden every year. I also use it in some of my house plants. It just makes the soil that much richer. This is also really great to use in pots. It's not going to... It's not like a heavy compost where now it's trapped moisture. This is amazing. My tomatoes and peppers that I do in pots, this is 100% going in it. What do we have next? Epsom salts. Okay, so these are great when you want to take a bath. Okay.
Oh my God, I was like, what?
So Epsom salts, again, not a fertilizer. There's no NPK count on here, so that's why we treat it as an amendment. Epsom salts add magnesium, and magnesium is a major player in chlorophyll. Okay, so it boosts chlorophyll. By boosting chlorophyll, we boost photosynthesis. By boosting photosynthesis, the overall plant does better. So this is one of those that you can add. Say your plants, you like, feel like they could be performing better. My pH is on, my temperature is good. I got the right plants in the right place, and you're like, I just need something to put them over the edge. This comes in real handy, just as a photosynthesizer. It's just going to help, going to get that chlorophyll more active. It's going to boost it. So now those cells are like, okay, yeah, we're raring to go. The sunlight hits, and they're photosynthesizing and pushing out roots. So a really, really fun one to put in the garden as well. Next is iron. I love iron. Iron basically is one of those ones where, I mean, I take an iron supplement every day. You know, a lot of people I know, my mom was anemic. She had to take an iron supplement. This helps chlorophyll production, so it plays very well with Epsom salts. It helps green the plant up. Chlorophyll is the green element. It's going to make our plants a deeper green. Really, really going to help them photosynthesize. It helps move oxygen and gas around the plant, so it allows the plant to really breathe easier. It keeps it moving, and it just kind of helps the overall health of the plant. It's going to boost it. You can overdo iron, but again, follow the directions on it. Okay, I know some people, like anything, and I get it, we get carried away. I'm like, this stuff is great for making your plants green. You're like, oh, I want a lot of green plants. Too much is too much. Again, right? If we go back to acidity and we go back to what we were talking about, too much temperature, too much acidity. Too much of anything is bad. Plants like a balance. They like a range. They like to be within that guideline. There in that, you have a lot of leeway. You know, the pH can be, 6 to 7. The temperature can be 15 to 25. We have a lot of leeway. So you don't have to overdo it. You know, no iron is probably not good. This whole container is also not good. So, you know, find that balance. Okay, now my favorite, biochar. And I love, so many people sleep on this. And this one here is sustainable. What they do is they have a large area of bamboo. They grow it, and they grow it in quadrants. Gets to a certain height, they chop it down, they burn it at a certain rate. So there's not a ton of smoke, because they don't want to just burn it to ashes. They want to burn it to charcoal. They then harvest that biochar, so it's really good. They haven't burned any of the goodness off it. You put your hand in there, it comes out sooty. It's like picking charcoal out of the fire. Meanwhile, while that one's gone, the other 3 sections are all growing up. They've got that one. The next one is up because bamboo grows so fast, and they're doing that, and it's all one thing, and they just cycle through. So they're not cutting down trees to turn into biochar. They're not growing these whole areas and then clear cutting them. It's one central area, and they just cycle through it, and they keep it going, and the bamboo just keeps growing and breathing, and they add biochar to the area, and it's a wonderful thing. Okay, great. So that makes us feel good. What does it do? So we put this in the ground. You mix it in, and again, I use this in my houseplants. I use it in my pots. It's like a sponge. Okay, so you put this in, and now the plant needs less room for the same amount of root growth. So what happens is this charcoal absorbs moisture, so it stops moisture from leaching off, so the roots are attracted to it. As it holds moisture, it's also holding nutrition, especially if we're using water-soluble fertilizers. So now our roots are able to access nutrients that would have leached off in a soil without this. This has absorbed them and it's held them. It boosts microbial activity because, again, when we're talking microbes, we're talking minuscule. So I don't want to open this, and I don't have one open. I do have one at home because it will make one hell of a mess. Do we have one over there? I don't think we have one open. No, I know. It is so messy.
Oh, we had dolomitic lime open.
Yep, that's just white powder.
I know, we could
Yeah.
have shown it.
But this, it's unbelievably messy. But they're pretty big chunks, you know. You can kind of hear. I don't know why I'm showing it to the camera when my microphone is there. Bit of ASMR on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
But they're quite big chunks. So it's pulling in all of this moisture and it's pulling in nutrients. Well, the bacteria and the fungus love it. So they all migrate there. Now they are, creating more. They're dividing and there's more bacteria and there's more fungus. So that's aiding our plant. So all of this is boosting it. It also sequesters carbon right out of the air. Okay, so it pulls carbon into the soil. Great for gas exchange. Also pulls carbon out of our air. That's a good thing. Anything that's pulling carbon out of the air works for it. It helps with the pH balance. So we have too much acidity. Well, this is a sponge. So it pulls the acidity in. The plant doesn't need it. It's not going to draw it out of it. And this is now holding it inert out of the soil. The roots are like, oh, I don't need that. They go elsewhere. So it can help us balance the pH, and it increases aeration and drainage. Now to make notes, that's how much this does. Okay, a little bit goes a long way. Again, as always, read the directions. I'm not going to read directions and tell you guys how to use it. Everything is on there. But this stuff is worth its weight in gold. I've grown house plants in it. I think I did a 50-50 mix of potting soil and carbon and put a spider plant in it. It thrived. It did amazing in a small pot. Those roots, and when I took it out to eventually transplant it, the roots were so incredibly healthy. With it being big and it doesn't break down easy because it is charcoal, so it helps form aggregates and it's pulled in moisture. So it's an amazing product. There's one more I have on here. And then gypsum. So, and there's one more I want to talk about. It is a fertilizer, but it's a good one, so I do want to talk about it because it is a slow release. And I know we haven't talked about fertilizers here, but I'll get to that one in a second. Gypsum. So we recommend gypsum, especially in Calgary, to help break down clay. You've got a really heavy clay bed. Doesn't matter what you've been putting in. You've been putting in your big hitters, your compost manure, whatnot. You're putting everything, and you just cannot get that clay to break down. Go with gypsum. It really works. It stops clay. It literally breaks clay down. We have people who come back every year and they are looking for gypsum. They're like, oh my God, I started using it on my lawn. My lawn was very heavy clay. It didn't matter how many times I aerated it. They started top dressing with gypsum. It started making a difference immediately. Gypsum can really be added to anything. It's just a really good backup. It doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, but it's there when you need it, and that's why I love it.
How do you know you have clay? Like, what does clay look like?
So when you're digging your soil, and that's because when we think clay, I think a lot of people think pottery.
I do.
So when years ago, I've talked about this place before, when we moved into a place in Mount Pleasant. Mm-hmm. Nobody had done the beds at all. And Harry and I went to turn them. and we put the shovel in. So when you dig, when you see people gardening or when you garden, and you put your shovel in and you lift it up, and if it's wet or if it's dense and the soil is holding, but you flip it and the soil hits the soil and it breaks apart.
Yeah.
Clay, you do that. Now it may look like soil, it may be grainy, but you do it and it's just kind of clumped. Okay, and it's sticky and it's heavy. You take a shovel full of soil, you should be like, I can feel weight. It should be substantial, but you shouldn't be like, ooh. Clay has that weight. Clay is heavy. It's good. The native plants we have, they like a clay soil. Those roots are aggressive, they're deep, they help lock it in, they also help break it down. But a clay soil isn't inherently bad. It's inherently bad when we want to grow things that don't naturally grow in a clay soil. It's like trying to grow blueberries in a soil that isn't acidic. We need to tweak it. So that's what you're looking at when you're looking at clay. Once you've amended your soil, gypsum I really find is good for grass or for that starting thing. Once you start amending your soil and you're doing it twice a year, May and August, say April, August, whatever. After a couple of years, the clay it's not formed. You dig down maybe 3 feet, you'll find clay, but you've turned it so much and you've added so much good stuff that the clay just isn't there anymore because you're constantly putting in that good stuff. But that's why and here's the other good thing is when you're digging in clay, if you don't mind the weight, it's actually not bad to dig in because it comes out nice and clean. We did a job years ago here, landscaping, when I first started at Golden Acre, and we were doing a job in, where's the bird sanctuary? Inglewood.
Yeah.
We're doing a job there, and we were putting in a new driveway. Nearly everything we dug out was clay.
Okay, so it can be pretty common.
Yeah, it's the lower you get down. So if you go up more into the foothills, you're not going to find it as much. So Huntington, Beddington area, probably less clay. You get down to the river, Deer Run, Inglewood, Bridgeland, you're probably going to find more clay because it's where it holds water.
Good tips. And in those communities, check it out.
Yep. So, and that's what I've seen doing landscaping and what I hear from customers. I talk to somebody and they're like, oh no, I'm right on a hill, right next to Nose Hill. I have no clay in my yard. And then you talk to somebody in Bridgeland, they're like, it's all clay all the time. So that's what we're looking at. And then I want to give a shout out to a new product we have, and I really like this, and it's called Replenish Nutrients. And I like this, it's granular, as we can hear, and this works really well. It is a fertilizer, so it does have an NPK count, but this adds a lot of sulfur to our beds. Which is a nutrient that often gets overlooked. Very good, works very well with Epsom salts. Very well to help boost chlorophyll and photosynthesize. Very good for root vegetables as well. Because it's a granular slow release as it goes down. It's also feeding the soil. No nitrogen in it. I believe the NPK count is 0. So there's no nitrogen, which makes it very suitable for vegetable gardens. So this is really good. We just brought this in. It's a local Calgary product. And the guy brought it to us. It's organic, unrelisted. Gotta love seeing it. And he'd been selling it to a few Hutterite farms, and they've been using it on their acreages for their vegetables.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't need to give it... there is nothing I can say about this that is a better sell than the Hutterites have been using it for over a decade to grow their veggies.
Yeah.
Enough said.
There you go.
So that is kind of our soil health check-in, because we look at soil and absolutely I can be guilty of it, and I go, well, I put my good stuff in and I don't think about it anymore. And every once in a while, doing that checkup and going out and sticking your pH meter in and sticking a moisture meter in, having a look at the temperature. It's not, and the reason why it's important to do things like use a soil thermometer. You put a temperature on the wall next to the soil and you go, oh my God, it's 37 degrees. The soil probably isn't 37 degrees. Soil is naturally going to be cooler. The top layer might be hot. The deeper you go, the cooler it'll be. So you put this spike into this top layer of soil, you're going to get a different temperature reading than if you sink it. If you're putting in a pot that's this deep, you can always dig out and stick this in deeper. So you can find out the temperature. The lower you go, the cooler the soil will be. Soil does act as a natural buffer for temperature. So things to keep in mind, some actionable items, a couple of things that we can do to test our soil, to fix our soil, to work with our soil. And as always, we have time for questions now, or you can come on in and ask about any of these products or gadgets with anybody who's here.
Just one question for you, Colin. For all of these amendments, are you talking specifically for garden beds, or can they also be used in pots?
So let me just double check. Highly unlikely you're going to be using dolomitic or aluminum sulfate in pots.
That's for the pH, right?
Yeah. Most of, now again, this one took me by surprise. Lavender.
Yeah.
I grow that in a pot. I have never added anything. My lavender does amazing. But my lavender could absolutely benefit by putting that in. Okay? But I put lavender in with other herbs. Those other herbs won't like it. So, again, I look at maintaining the 6 to 7. So, these two, you're not going to, likely will not need. I've never used in a pot, and I've never once seen the need. You're not going to grow a blueberry in a pot because it's not going to live through the air. Every other one of these, just before I shoot from the hip, yes, you can put in a pot.
But you probably won't need gypsum.
Probably, no, gypsum, again, you can put it in, but if you're filling your pot with clay, we have other questions for you. You could put it in, though. When we're putting in amendments in potting medium, we're trying to stay away from heavy ones that will not allow the water to go through. Manures and composts are mainly the biggest problem. Everything else is normally pretty good. What I guarantee add every year is my worm castings. I add this and my charcoal. My volcanic mineral and my charcoal. Every year they go in my pots. No questions asked. Then, depending on maybe the plant or what I think it needs, these can also be used to correct deficiencies mid-season. Okay, again, you have this, okay? It's in your toolkit. Your plants are doing great, then they start suffering, okay? Like maybe your tomatoes took off and then they stunt. And you go, what is going on? Go check the temperature. Okay, take this, it does all of them. Check the temperature, check the moisture, check your pH, and you go, oh my God, I am so off on all three. No wonder it's stunted, and you can fix it. We've said before, most of the time you don't have to panic. Your plant is stunted, you get on top of it right away, you can normally fix it. We've talked about this one numerous times, blossom end rot. First flush of tomatoes come out, you're excited, and then you see that horrible spot forming on the bottom or on the side or wherever it's forming. It ain't pretty, and we go, oh no, I've got blossom end rot. Add calcium. All those tomatoes that have that black spot, pull them off, throw them away, right? Straight into the compost, whatever. Throw them at the back of the bed, the squirrels will eat them. Get rid of them, add calcium. The next flush of tomatoes will not have it. We can frequently correct deficiencies throughout the season if we know what we're looking for, and having some gadgets, having some tools, and having some knowledge in our back pockets goes a long way to correcting those deficiencies.
Nice.